Good evening, everybody. I need 10 seconds of extreme concentration. I need 10 seconds when I need you all to think. You're not watching TV here, so let's just participate. This is a picture of India taken during October 26th, 2001, during Diwali. And it's a very interesting picture. The reason it's very interesting for me is because of the dark river or the dark spot that's flowing through our country. If you can observe, I don't think this has a pointer, but if you can observe, there's a dark river flowing through our country. This is taken from a satellite, so it's obviously detecting the lights that are there. But it's interesting because the dark rivers that we see are not actually dark, are not actually places which are sea, or places where nobody lives. They're actually where more than 500 million people live and actually survive. And it's very interesting because Rajasthan is bang there. And what it shows is the number of people who are living with rudimentary lighting or no lighting at all. And it's a huge thought because today, while I stand here, there are about 7 lights which are facing me. I can't even see your faces properly. Whereas there's a kid who's just about 50 kilometers away down south in maybe a place called Kotra or maybe a place called Kherwada, something which all of you have heard the names about, and he's sitting next to a kerosene lamp and he's trying to study. While I'm giving you guys hot air, he's trying to do something in his life and trying to study in a kerosene lamp. That is unacceptable. This is a picture of Bengal. It's interesting, we Bengalis are very much passionate about ponds and fishes and eating fishes. Interestingly, they all have a bath on the same river and they wash in the same pond and they wash their cattle also in the same pond and we all eat the fish from the same pond and we drink that water too. That's completely unacceptable. That's unacceptable to me and that should be unacceptable to all learned people over here. Because these are not pictures from Somalia or South Sudan or anywhere. These are pictures from our own motherland. These are pictures that while our finance minister stands and talks about 6.9% growth, these guys are shrinking. Not at 6.9%, friends, but at 16 or 20%. My name is Rustam Sengupta. 3 years ago, I was working in Standard Chartered. I was selling fixed income bonds to millionaires and trying to make them billionaires. They call it investment banking, but pretty much it's working with Excels and creating loads and loads of PowerPoint which nobody cares for. And all my friends here, you're going to do the same. Very soon you're going to graduate. You're going to work for your boss. He's going to tell you something and you're going to work and create something and do a lot of stuff. Which in the end, the impact will be this much. I'm sorry, but that's true. Sounds bad. Before that, I did an MBA. Went to INSEAD Business School, which is in Paris, and did an MBA. I thought 3 letters behind my name is going to add a lot of value. There are other 3-letter words which are more valuable, believe me. So here I stand in front of you today, trying to create a case for something very different. I'm trying to build a case where I'm trying to say that it's not just the bleedy hearts, it's not just the dhoti-clad or the jholi-clad guys who are going to make the change. It's going to be people like us, and it's going to be people who actually have the skills to do it. And that's where I differ from all the other people working in the social field, because you have to be capable. You can't be a career politician whose only lesson in life is to win elections and know how to do development, know how to build products for other people which can sustain them. You can't be a person who's always been living in one place without exposure and get ideas from outside and implement them. You can't. And that's why we guys can, because we have the privilege to sit here. We have the privilege to study in big universities and get the exposure. A lot of people have epiphanies where, they are in a village and they go like, wow, it touched me, changed my life, and I decided. I didn't have an epiphany with that. I'm sorry. I had an epiphany when I saw something like this. I was in Germany, and I saw a little dude or not a little dude, a big German dude, sorry, actually carry a little device. And whenever, his cell phone would beep and lose charge or whatever, he would just put it out in the sun for a little bit, charge it and use it again. This is a solar mobile charger. And that was my epiphany. That was a changing point because that's where I knew exactly how I could utilize all the 3-letter degrees that I've added behind my name to actually do something which has more difference than this. And that's where I started Boond. When I started Boond 3 years ago, the funny story is people called me idiot. They called me all sorts of names, and interestingly, now they called me for TEDtalks. So we've come a fair distance. And it's been an enjoyable ride. It's been a difficult ride. But it's been a ride where I've learned far more and been able to understand how things have to be made. I'm glad I have an awesome team sitting here to support me, and they've joined us, and we've decided that if something is unacceptable, we need to take a stand and utilize stuff that we have. So how did we think about doing it? We didn't think about creating a big NGO and trying to solve problems. We said we'll do what we guys do well, is understand technology, which is being implemented in all other places of the world, and try to customize it or use it in a model to implement it in places which don't have it but need it the most. The first thing that we did is not accept. And this is kind of the picture which kind of stands out. And as far as we want to become a superpower and we want to have interballistic continent or whatever, missiles, or as much as we want to have any other things, which definitely we should, we don't want to have this. So what we thought the first thing that we need to do is change our mindset. We've got to stop thinking beneficiary. Stop, guys. They are better, they are fine, they are happy. They are not waiting for you to benefit them. Stop thinking beneficiary. This is a picture from Dev Dungri, which is close to Ajmer. It's of Shakti Singh. And this is how his life runs. He runs around an income of $2 to $5 a day, pretty much. This is how he spends it. The first realization that we went through was I have to stop thinking of him as a beneficiary, but actually have to work with him to create a model which he uses and we use, which both of us can gain and both of us can grow in life with. So what we did is, how can you reach a country which is so huge, has so many different languages? You have to create leaders in the particular villages. Sometimes in business terms, we call them entrepreneurs. And we like to say we create entrepreneurs. What do these entrepreneurs do? They actually take the message of development to the village by selling, servicing, renting products which add value. Products like solar lamps, products like water filters, products which you and I take for granted. Like a little torch which keeps the snake away when you go for bathroom at 4 a.m. in the morning. Simple stuff. But they are the people who take it. They are the leaders. And I've learned a lot of things from them. I've learned basic examples of leadership from people like these. So this is a little store in Bengal. It's written in Bengali, but it says Boond Development Center, if I can translate it, which is run and managed by a few people, sometimes well, sometimes very badly. But it's basically about creating entrepreneurs. It's about creating foot soldiers who can go to different parts of the ground. So I'm sorry if a lot of you came here and thought there's going to be a huge TED talk and you can take notes to solve your problems. That's bullshit. I can tell you my mistakes. I can tell you my mistakes for long because we made a lot of them and we've come back and tried to remodel and recreate ourselves. But there's a few things that we learned along the way which we know can empower people. It's few things that you can use because you have the skill to translate and move it forward. Very simple. Awareness. Every time you talk, you can make people aware. Every time you impart something, there's a skill that you can give another person. Very importantly, trust. That's sort of the most important thing that's lacking in today's time is we have to impart trust. By trust, you mean if you have an entrepreneur, you trust him. You give him something, you trust him, you build the relationship. We've got to go back to like the 18th century where we had shops which catered to people in a very trust and relationship manner, where you wouldn't buy a product without really feeling a goodness or a kind of a connection to the person. So we realized trust is very important. This lady is a fine example. She's HIV positive. She doesn't work for us anymore because she's not healthy anymore. Her name is Rose. And she's in a little village in Manipur called Ukhrul. That village is closer to Myanmar than it is to India. She takes the products there. She builds the trust with the community, and she sells stuff that she believes in. This is a very recent picture from a trip to Pali, which is, everybody knows Pali, which is very close to this place. It's where women who've never sold tissue paper in their life or dealt with anything complicated, like even folding a piece of paper to make a airplane, are actually selling complicated products like solar lamps. Things that I can bet if I open it up for you, you guys are going to be confused too. They're doing it. Why? Because they can get respect out of it. Because an entrepreneur or a creator has far more respect in a society into way to move forward. So we realized that's another big learning, is to create respect and create growth and how people work. Finally, we realized everybody needs an identity. And that was another learning, big learning that we got from working and creating entrepreneurs in villages, is everybody needs a clear defined identity on what they are doing and how they are doing it, and a sense of security among their own social group. So we started moving through and started building, and we've been doing that for the past 2.5 years now. We're all over Rajasthan. You can check us out whenever we have an office in Udaipur. But the whole brilliant part is to start thinking in a new beginning, using the skills you have, using the passion that you have, and using sort of the people and understanding how you can help them grow. These are pictures of children who use the solar lamp for different purposes. They're using it for reading and writing or for showing the way. And they're inspiration. They inspire me. They inspire me because unless this kid reads and writes, our country cannot be a complete country. Because if you are at home and your brother doesn't read and write, or your brother is not getting the same opportunities as you, the whole family doesn't develop. And that's something that we have to put into our head, that as many malls that we create in Gurgaon, or as many airlines that we create which basically need money to bail out, you need to move there. And the bigger part of that is you have the capacity and the capability to be these leaders. So there's no message, there's no gyan I can really give here, other than the fact that it's amazing to see so many people here. And it's amazing to see, and very inspiring for us to see, that people want to be the change. Now don't screw up and go sit for the next placement interview and get the biggest Infosys job that you can, because that is not going to be the social impact that we are sitting here for. But the fact is, there is a new beginning. There is a silver lining in the cloud. And it's optimistic, because 10 years ago, a talk like this would probably have 10 people sitting here. So thanks for coming. I hope you enjoyed the journey. And please come, join, and help us out. Thank you.